We're going to go to line 8. We're speaking with Graham Oliver, who we've spoken before, and I'm very happy to speak with him again tonight. Very excited. He is, of course, with the Port-au-Port St. George's Fracking Awareness either coalition or committee. I'm not sure which one. Graham, welcome back to the show. Tell me, coalition or committee?
Well, it's actually the group. We're with a group that we've formed, and it formed about a year ago, January, and we've been quite active since then of creating awareness about fracking in Bay St. George and on the west coast of Newfoundland. And actually, we're in St. John's doing a presentation as well. But I did hear this evening just the tail end of Mark Jarvis on there, and he's the new president of Shoal Point Energy, I understand. And
yes.
He's, in my estimation, out churning the public now because we've had a changeover. We've had David Murray that's been doing it for a while under Black Spruce Exploration, and in my eyes, he's not done a very good job of coming across. His PR has landed very flat.
Are we talking about Mark Jarvis, or are we talking about Black Spruce here?
No, we're talking about David Murray, who was with Black Spruce, but Black Spruce was actually doing the drilling for Shoal Point. Now Black Spruce has given the license back to Shoal Point.
Yes, they have. They're part of it.
And Shoal Point is now going to pursue this themselves. And Mark Jarvis is the recent. He's about a year and a bit in the job as president. Mm-hmm. So he's out there telling the people, which is not uncommon, all the wonderful things about fracking. I think that he made somebody told me a quote that there's been never a problem with fracking, in the United States, thousands of wells, no problems. Well, he failed to list in Pennsylvania the court ordered, or there was a court order for the environment to list or release all the wells that were water wells that were polluted in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. Just the ones that are on the list, just the few on the list, 248 water wells contaminated. Now, that's not counting all the people that signed gag orders in Pennsylvania. And then he hopped through, I don't know if he went through Canada, but he obviously missed Grand Prairie, where you can find the report online of what happened with the well there that contaminated the Grand Prairie water supply. You can also refer to Jesse Gern's list of all the water that was contaminated in Canada. So,
Graham, could you do us a favor? Do me a solid. First of all, can you send me links to all of this information at my Nightline at VOCM.com email, because I do want to get the whole picture, and I've been trying desperately. And I wanted to inform you, I invited Mr. Jarvis on to my program tonight because I feel that while we have been getting a lot of information about fracking, and as we're experiencing this moratorium, I don't think we're getting the entire picture and from both sides is what I mean by this. And I invited Mr. Jarvis, and I'll invite others on as well, proponents and opponents. And as you know, because you've been on the show before doing this, and sure. I think it would be great if I could get a little bit more information. Speaking of which, Pete Soucy actually tweeted to us while we had Mr. Jarvis on, or afterwards, in fact. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to ask this question, so I don't know if you heard this part of the interview, but Mark Jarvis did say that the water that is used for the fracking purposes can be stored in wells and then reused for the next pipe or straw borehole, as he put it. Therefore, it's conserving in a lot of ways. But Pete wanted to know how many times can that particular water be reused, and then, of course, what happens to it, how is it treated afterwards, how are the heavy solids removed. Do you have any idea about that process that you can tell us about tonight?
Well, I don't have a lot about it other than the fact that certainly there's two large ponds over in Nova Scotia that have been there since 2006, and they haven't found anything way to dispose of that water that's laced with heavy metals, radioactive, and is sitting there. One thing I would like to point out...
Are these lined ponds? Are these man-made ponds?
These are lined ponds, okay. And Jonathan, when the oil company, or the oil and gas company, Fracking Group, applied for a permit, they applied for a permit to store fresh water to use in the frack. So they drained water from Knoll Brook, and then they stored it in the ponds. Then they did the frack, and then they said to the Department of Environment in Nova Scotia, can we use those same ponds for storing the wastewater? So guess what? The water went into these ponds that were okayed for fresh water, but not for wastewater, especially radioactive wastewater. So those ponds still exist today.
When was this? How many years back? Are we talking about the most current?
In 2006, the wells were drilled, and in 2014, on October the 1st, they will still be there with signs around them, chain link fence that you can't go near them. They are radioactive wastewater ponds. And this was a junior oil and gas company that came in to do a vertical frack, and they hit so much produced water that had to be stored somewhere. It was stored in ponds that were designed for fresh water. So one thing that I will caution the listener, we're talking junior oil companies. We're talking, in this case, I also heard Mr. Jarvis say that spent a lot of money in the well in Shoal Point Energy has spent a lot of money. We've been visiting the site in Shoal Point, and we were disgusted with the last drillers that were in there. That was under George Langdon, the former president and CEO of Shoal Point Energy. It was only after we complained to government that we had people come in, or Department of Environment, I guess it was, or Natural Resources, to remove all the wastes that were left from the last drilling site. So the people in this area of Bay St. George, Port-au-Port, West Coast are disgusted with the behavior of junior oil companies coming in here. They have no social license, and now we've got another person there, Mr. Jarvis. He's out churning the public, speaking of all the jobs that will come. We're talking, they haven't even explored yet and got good results. Shoal Point Energy has drilled. When they did drill, they claimed they hit 54 barrels of oil. Then they had to do a press release, because they're listed on the stock market, to say that, I'm sorry, we actually didn't hit oil. So I would caution the listener to be very leery of what presidents of junior oil companies say. We talk about jobs. There hasn't been any oil discovered. You have to go through the stages of applying for permits.
Yeah, I saw all of that. That's in the presentation. You're right. There is, of course, the applications, and that's, I don't know, perhaps that might be part of the reason why they have parted ways with Black Spruce exploration. I don't know. I'm going to dig a little further into that. We have to go to the break, unfortunately, though, Graham. So listen, I'm going to program another program about this, and perhaps I can reach out to you once more, and we'll have maybe a counterpoint on a number of other issues with respect to this. And I appreciate you calling in tonight.
Absolutely, I enjoyed the call. Thank you, Jonathan.
Have a great night. Take care, Graham.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go. The conversation is certainly far from over, folks.